And now it's my great pleasure to introduce a friend, a colleague, a collaborator, a professor and clinical researcher in the Department of Psychiatry at the University of California, San Francisco. She studies causes of chronic stress and how people become resilient to it. She's the co-author of The Telomere Effect with Nobel laureate Elizabeth Blackburn. She's also conducted studies on meditation retreats by Deepak Chopra and also on the Wim Hof breathing method, which you'll hear more about later this weekend. I'm so happy to welcome Elissa. She's also going to then interview Victor and Lynne Burke, the founders of the John W. Burke Mental Health Foundation. And without them, none of this would be possible. Elissa?
Hi.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm hoping you can share a little bit about your research on Deepak's meditation retreats, some of the research you're doing on the Wim Hof method that's funded by the Burke Foundation, and then I've given you the task of interviewing Victor and Lynne Burke.
Thank you so much, Cassie. Thank you to all the organizers. I am so pleased to be here this morning with all of you. What an amazing name. Never Alone. I mean, I'm a stress researcher. We know two things that are absolutely essential for staying sane, for being able to be ourselves in this crazy time. One is about self-regulation strategies. I'm going to go deep there in just a few minutes, with the few minutes I have. But the other is about connection. We cannot live well alone. We are social mammals. Thank God for Zoom and for the connectivity we have now, because this pandemic without it would be terrifying. We would be so alone. So how amazing the miracle that we're all connected right now together, and we are connected through stress. So I'm going to go deep there. Our mind, stress is a whole mind-body experience, and we can work to live well with stress through our mind. The mind changes the body, and through our body changing the mind. So I'm going to tell you about a study that we did that gives us some insight into how powerful this connection is with our mind. We can use the stress we're under now for growth. And so we need to also focus on not just how terrible things are, but oh my God, this is pushing us, and we're going to come out on the other side as different people, as a different society. So we've got to remember that, because this is really hard. Okay, let me tell you briefly about this remarkable study that I was honored to do with my colleagues, Rudy Tanzi, Eric Schatt, and others. We studied Deepak Chopra's retreat center. The anecdotes every year from people who spend a week at his center were quite worthy of study. So we went in and we took blood of people before, and a week later, and almost a year later, we checked in on their mental health. We randomized people from San Diego who had never meditated, and we brought them to the center, La Costa, a nice place to live for a week. Half of them got meditation training, and the other half had a leisurely week. So who did better? A week later, the gene expression profiles changed so dramatically toward health in everyone. Changing context, getting a break from work, eating an Ayurvedic diet, created a down-regulation, dramatic changes in what the cell creates in the gene expression toward health, away from stress processes and immune system fighting toward a restoration. This is what we can do for ourselves now. We are not going to have a week-long peaceful retreat, but we need to take these shorter breaks, and we can go inward and learn new self-care skills. This 3 days is a mecca for learning something new for all of us. So a year later, we checked in on these people's mental health, and those who learned meditation maintained a dramatic reduction in depression. So training the mind and having a daily practice is absolutely critical right now. It's very exciting that we can actually change someone's baseline of depression through meditation. So I also said the body changes the mind. We are studying the Wim Hof method. It is remarkable in what people are seeing and feeling with the method. And it looks like it boosts the immune system to be less pro-inflammatory. We are studying its effect on depression. No answers yet, but I'm very excited about the potential of creating positive stress in the body because it jolts us into a recovery mode. Short bouts of stress from exercise, even from mental stress when we have a really positive mindset, are good for us. So let's remember that. You get to hear Wim Hof tomorrow morning. Enjoy it. There's going to be a whole array of things we can do body up to change the mind, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, this extreme breathing method, and of course, meditation and mindfulness. So I had the good luck of being at a meeting several years ago and finding I had a common goal with this lovely couple, Victor and Lynne Brick. And that goal was finding out ways to help mental health suffering without drugs. Drugs are fine for those who need it, like with severe depression or mental illness. The bottom line is that we have a mental health crisis, especially now, and it's not about drugs. The meta-analyses show that drugs only help about half of people with depression. That's not better than placebo. So we must look inward to natural methods. The secrets of restoration and more robust mental health are within us, many and between us, the social fabric. So let me introduce Victor and Lynne Brick. They are the founders of the, it's so good to see you guys. I love you.
Good morning.
Good morning. They are the founders of the John W. Brick Mental Health Foundation. The mission of this foundation is changing the way the world treats mental health. They are also the founders of the Planet Fitness Growth Partners, which is a franchise in the Planet Fitness system, one of the largest chains globally. Victor and Lynne are also international business consultants and motivational speakers. And I do want to mention that Lynne was one of the leaders in the aerobics movement in the 80s. She was named the International Aerobics Instructor of the Year. And these guys live what they preach and what they help others find. So Victor and Lynne, we are here because of you and because of the Chopra Foundation. Thank you so much for sponsoring this 3 days. It's an incredible opportunity to be together at a critical moment in our lives, in our history. So I'd like to welcome everybody.
We want to welcome everybody and say thank you as well for being on board and being a part of this.
I'm going to start off with you, Victor. So you've been in the fitness industry most of your adult life. Why did you start this foundation and why mental health?
Why mental health? Because my brother John suffered from schizophrenia his entire life and died from complications of the disease. And John had more ability in his one little finger than any of the rest of the family or any of the rest of the brothers and sister had in their entire body. And he was plagued with this thing called mental illness. And when he passed, his funeral was one of the saddest affairs we've ever attended. And it was as if this talented, loving, unbelievable individual's life did not matter. And right then and there, I said to myself, this is not the way my brother is going to go out. And we are going to do something so that other families and other individuals don't have to suffer what my brother went through and what we went through. So why the John W. Brick Mental Health Foundation? This is for my brother. This is for my mother. And this is for anyone else that suffers the things that we suffered all those years. And hopefully we can help. Because we believe ultimately you will be judged by what you give back to society. And the John W. Brick Mental Health Foundation is what we want to give back to society.
I just feel so much in my heart your pain and our collective pain. You know, mental illness is one of the worst diseases. It's just causes so much suffering. I've seen it in my own family. And I know that many people watching it have seen these depths of darkness. And I'm so grateful for you and Lynne for using your resources to find treatments and cures. And I'm so grateful to be one of your first grantees. This Wim Hof study would never be funded by NIH, not for years and years. So we know we need people like you to help us find these non-big pharma ways for wellness. So I want to know if you can tell me, Lynne, just in a few words, what is the goal? What's the mission here of the foundation?
The mission of the John W. Burke Mental Health Foundation is to change the way the world treats mental health. And we do that by funding and promoting evidence-based research on how healthy lifestyle choices such as nutrition, exercise, and mind-body practices, yoga, meditation, etc., how they benefit mental health.
Beautiful. So tell us, you know, and I just want to say we can't do this alone. Part of this event is introducing this foundation. We need everyone listening. We need to bond together. Those who have means to help, we need you. And we're going to have an annual run every year. It's going to be global, and it's going to be with all of the partners that are listening right now, all of us. So I'm excited for our future. This is a new revolution, and boy, is it needed. So let's talk about lifestyle and fitness. Boy, you know, you guys are, you live what you preach. You have tremendous respect for what fitness can do for mental health. And I would just like to throw this open to you and, you know, tell us how much of a difference can fitness make? What is it? What role does it play in your own life?
Okay.
I was going to say, well, we started many years ago, as you previously mentioned. I was a former nurse and a dancer. Victor was a coach and a teacher. And we literally fell into the fitness industry in the early 80s. And through this journey over all these many years, we've learned about best practices and from personal experience as well as industry experts. And we have, you know, blending yin activities and yang activities, softer, more restorative activities, as well as more higher intensity activities. And work is a higher intensity yang activity as well. So we focus on balancing strength training, mind-body practices, Qigong, Wim Hof method, all these practices. It's helped us with our journey. And as a matter of fact, sometimes the journey is easy and sometimes there are days where it's very, very challenging. And I had an experience once where my body basically betrayed me. And I'd like to share that with you now. It's Victor woke me up in the morning and said, Lynne, I think you had a bad dream. And when he described what I did, I said, that wasn't a bad dream. It's more like a nightmare. I just experienced a grand mal seizure. And I rushed to the emergency room. They gave me anti-seizure medication. And sure enough, CAT scan MRI said that I had a brain tumor. What? A brain tumor? How could that possibly be? Next, a couple days later, I had a severe allergic reaction to the anti-seizure medication, and they changed medication, which was a mood elevator too. Next week, I had my full craniotomy, and thank goodness the tumor was right frontal lobe benign. But I started to feel better physically and emotionally. However, I know that several months later, my brain was foggy, my energy was low, and oh my gosh, even though I was a fitness person, I felt not like myself at all. And I took myself off the medication. That's when I crashed and burned. I went through severe depression, didn't want to get up out of bed in the morning, didn't want to, I cried a lot. I was just emotionally and psychologically and mentally a wreck. And I just felt, how am I going to pull myself out? I was embarrassed. So I just started putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually pulled myself out and realized it's those baby steps, do a little bit more each day, that helped me to recover physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every way. And I learned to put my oxygen mask on first.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Lynne.
Elissa, can I follow up on that real quick?
Yes, yes.
Because you would ask us in our conversations how our fitness lifestyle relates to resiliency and to being able to handle crisis. And resiliency, by definition, is the ability to, quote, get back to normal, the ability to respond to difficulties. And fitness is all about resiliency. There is no finish line in fitness. You don't get fit and stay there. It's a continuum, just like the mental health continuum. And you move up and down this fitness continuum depending on how much time you have and how regularly you can get your routine and how motivated you are. And you will slip off of the fitness continuum, just like Lynne did with a medical emergency. But for other reasons, you might slip. The key is to get back. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give up. Keep trying. Same thing with mental health. Mental health is a continuum. At one end is happiness, in the middle is slight anxiety and depression, and the other end, the clinically diagnosed illnesses, serious depression, schizophrenia, even, of course, finally suicide. And you move up and down this continuum based on your physiology, your psychology, and life events. And as you move up and down this continuum, the key is to try to, quote, get back to normal, get back to happiness. And to do this, just like in fitness, you have to have a routine. You have to have tools. You have to have a training program. In the military, they talk about the fact that in times of crisis and difficult times, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training. That's what we do in fitness. When we get off a program, we get back on a program. We fall back on our training. That's what we want to be able to say about mental health. When you get off your program, when you start to slide down that continuum, you get back on your training. And it's not about popping pills, and it's not about becoming a zombie and being in the corner of the room like my brother, staring there out the window because you're so medicated. It's about getting back and inserting these holistic, integrated programs, these wellness programs into your lifestyle to move you back up. The thing is, there is no finish line, and there is no finish line in life. And life is a battle. Right now, we're battling the coronavirus. It's a battle for our health. We battle fitness every day. It's a battle for our body. And we battle mental health every day. It's a battle for the mind.
And we don't do it alone. We have personal trainers that we work with that help us as well.
The key is that life is a battle. We need to fall back on our training. And that's what this is all about. Do you know this, the prayer?
So I want to, we're a bit out of time, and I want to refer people to your website and your blog because we have so much to learn from you. You guys have taught me this resilience that you have built. I mean, these two are all muscle. You can't see their bodies here, but what you have trained and built is actually manifesting and flourishing in your emotional resilience and your love. You guys are phenomenally strong people in your life philosophy and how you live. And I know that comes partly from your daily mind-body training. Deepak said it before we started. He said, there really is no separation between the two. And I used to think exercise was mundane, and it's magical. We train our mind. And just for those of you who don't know, which is most of us, there is phenomenal research showing that exercise creates stress resilience in our stress reactivity, both emotional and physiological. So I just want to end with, you know, we are starting a movement here. We are all together. I am so grateful to you, Victor and Lynne Brick, for bringing us together and the Chopra Foundation for these immersive 3 days. And no one should sit on their butt and get Zoom fatigue for 3 days. We want to keep moving. Lynne is going to be doing some exercises throughout with us. And there are just other magical treats. You're going to hear yoga with Janet Stone, etc. So I'm going to leave the last word to Victor Brick.
The last words are this, the words of the Special Olympics. Lord, let me be victorious. But if I cannot be victorious, let me be brave in the attempt. We want to help all of you become brave in the attempt. And remember, you are never alone.
Victor and Lynne Brick, first of all, thank you for sharing your personal stories. You spoke about resilience. You're absolutely right. When adversity strikes us, we need a process. And the process is, what is the attitude, what is our belief, and what are the choices you're going to make? Elissa, I'm really grateful for your research. I still remember in the Chopra Foundation when you all studied Seduction of Spirit and the groundbreaking research which was published in Nature magazine. It's called the Self-Directed Biological Transformation Initiative, and you spoke about lifestyle as medicine. We have comments from all over the world, and a big shout out to Mexico, Chile, UAE, Panama, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Kenya, Lebanon, hey, India, my hometown, my home country, South Africa, and Poland. Please visit the website of the John W. Brick Mental Health Foundation